Yeah, this is Prophet Paul, and I'm here listening to Servant David Ehrlichman in Devotion. To my problem, God is the solution.
Lord, as we begin today, we ask freshness of your Spirit, that out of confused issues may come simplicity of plan, that out of fear may come confidence, that out of hurry may come deliberation, that out of frustration may come guidance. Let us get to our work, not head first, but heart first. May we be able to disagree without being disagreeable, to differ without being difficult, to be honest without tension, and frank without offense, in an atmosphere of team spirit. Amen.
It's a pleasure to be here to share a few thoughts with you. And I want to just share this up front. Number one, everything that I'm going to say, you already know it because of who you are as entrepreneurs, because of who you are, people who have goals and dreams that you want to achieve. And part of that process is being a student, of being a sponge, of learning everything that you can. So everything that I'm going to say, you already know it. Number two, everything that I'm going to say, you've heard it before from other presenters who've come up and done an incredible job in sharing with you their experiences and the tools that you need in order to rise and to take your life and your business to the next level. Let's give all the presenters a tremendous round of applause who've come up and created value. And so I'm going to share some thoughts and ideas with you. And I just want to make it clear that as I share these ideas, just be open to the possibilities. And I must let you also know that, God has a sense of humor. I'm 70 years old and I have hot flashes. Seriously, I'm going through a decancering program and I have hot flashes. I travel with a fan and a blanket. I call them power surges. Okay, so at any time you see me perspiring a lot, I'm a Mickey Mouse fan, have a Mickey Mouse watch, and this is my little pat myself down, when I start perspiring. You got to have a sense of humor. Let us say together, have some fun. Yes. Now, the other thing is that I want you to think about three major goals that you'd like to achieve. Something that's important to you. I'm thankful to this industry. I'm thankful to Eric and Marina for the work they've put together, because were it not for this industry, I would not be who I am before, who I was. I would not be the person that I am now. Because of this industry, people like Glenn Turner, most of you never heard this name, Dare to Be Great, Holiday Magic, Best Line Products, Bill Bailey. Because of this industry, doing presentations, talking to people about a dream and how they can begin to step out of working for someone else to work for themselves. I had no idea that my life would be where it is right now. I don't know you, but here's what I know about you, based upon my own experience, that you have something special. You have greatness within you. Here's what I know about you. There's certain kinds of people who say yes when they're presented with this opportunity. Because this is not for everyone. This is not for the faint at heart. This is for people who have goals and dreams that they want to achieve. When I became involved in this industry, that's where I was. I was born in the poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City, with a twin brother in an abandoned building on a floor. When we were 6 weeks of age, we were adopted by Mrs. Mamie Brown. I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, "All that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother." And my mother, she worked on Miami Beach. She cleaned homes, and she kept children, and she cooked for families. We ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. These people were very kind and generous. They said, "Mamie, whatever food is left over after we eat, you can pack it up and take it home to those children that you have adopted." And she kept their children, and we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she kept. And as a kid, I remember walking around these big, beautiful mansions and, "Mama, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm gonna buy you a big, beautiful home, just like this." How many ever have someone in your life that you want to do something special for? Raise your hands, please. Very good. I'm going to share with you how you can make that happen. And I want you to think about goals in your personal life, and I want you to think about your financial goal. What is it? I want you to think about that financial freedom number. How much money do you want to earn that as a result of your earning that, it alleviates a lot of stress. As a result of earning that, it allows you to become debt-free. As a result of earning that, you'll be able to contribute to causes that you believe in, and be able to take care of family members, and be able to have more time for yourself and your family. I want you to think about your financial freedom number. Now, people say money won't make you happy, but everybody want to find out for themselves. Friend of mine, Rita Davenport, said money ain't important, but it's right up there with oxygen. And let me tell you something, fellas, even if you're as homeless as I am, you got some money, women will find something cute on you. Oh, my boyfriend got eyelashes like Denzel Washington, honey. You know, he's got earlobes like Tom Cruise. I used to be so broke, I'd walk past the bank and trip the alarm. Creditors would call the house, and my children would answer the phone and say, "My daddy said he ain't home." Oh my God. Being broke is a trip. So I want you to think about your financial freedom number. Everybody right now, as you think about it, hold up your right index finger. Good. You don't do anything else. Do this. Now put it in your ear. Put it in your ear. And just listen to me. I just want you to listen to me. You have something special. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than anything you can ever begin to imagine. There's an entrepreneur in you. You have million-dollar ideas, billion-dollar ideas in you. There are people waiting to hear your voice. You have a vision of yourself doing more, achieving more, taking care of your family, making your mark, leaving a legacy. You will never be stressed or challenged financially. You were born to be rich. You know that it's in your DNA. You were born to be successful. Take your finger out. And the reason I wanted you to do that, I didn't want to go in one ear and out the other. You know? As you think about your goals, that's Wesley and I. Which one am I, on the right or the left? Left, I'm the cute one, of course. That's my beginning. I share this with you because I want you to say something with me, with power and conviction. Let us say together, it's not where you start, it's where you're going. There's some of you here who cannot afford to be here, but there was something in you that said, I can't afford not to be here. And you've got here. You showed up. There was something in you that said, I've got to make this happen. There's something in you that said, there's a bigger life waiting for me, calling my name. There's something in you that says, I'm on my way to a greater life. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes, 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 yes. And whoever brought you in the business, make sure you find them and say thank you, because they saw something. They saw greatness in you. They saw something. They saw that it factor. There's something in you. There's another part of yourself that you will never discover unless you align yourself with positive, motivated people who have goals and dreams beyond working on a job where they pay you just enough to keep you quitting, beyond you're working just hard enough to keep from getting fired. There's something in you that says, I'm not going to go through life allowing somebody to control my financial future. There's something in you that says, I'm not going to work at a place where I have to go and ask for permission when I can go on vacation. There's something in you that says, I'm not mentally fit to work for somebody for the rest of my life. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes, yes. And think it not strange when you have goals and dreams that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. Be surprised that family members and friends and people who should be there to encourage you and to motivate you, that they will try and discourage you. They're called a pyramid scheme or some kind of get-rich-quick scheme. People who could help you out and won't help you out because they know too much about you. And they don't believe, they can't see this new you. Don't allow those negative naysayers, the people who are suffering from possibility blindness, to stop you. Had I listened to them, I would not be standing here. Had I listened to them, I would not be traveling around the world, living my dreams and not my fears. There's something in you that says yes to your life, yes to a greater future. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. And as you think about your goals and dreams, your personal goals, your financial goal, and whatever that number is, I want you to multiply it 100 times. And I want to warn you, don't ask yourself how you're going to do it. How is none of your business. My favorite book says, lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. There are things you can do that you don't know right now. So don't worry about how. That's none of your business. And I want you to think about your financial contribution, but also your legacy. What will be different? This stage of my life, I'm training and teaching people how to tell their story, how to make a difference in the lives of others, how to become an effective communicator. How many would love to do that? Raise your hands, please. It makes all the difference in the world, teaching people the techniques and strategies that I learned that allowed me to build an organization with hundreds of thousands of people. This stage of my life, I'm 70. Don't I look good for 70? Come on. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't use mascara. I don't use dye to cover my hair because of the fact that I have an allergic reaction to dye, but I do use mascara. Yeah. My kids say, Daddy, you look distinguished with your gray hair. I said, at 70, I'm not trying to look distinguished. I'm trying to look young. Sometimes, Tony, you got to hook this up. You understand what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. Oh, my God. Yeah, people say, I can't believe he's doing that. Now, you're going to need a paintbrush. You're going to need a... Let me tell you. I got to tell you this. I had to give this speech in the Georgia Dome called It's Not Over Till I Win. In fact, you just emailed me. Go to lesronmotivation.com and you can see it free. So anyhow, at the end of my presentation, somebody was there and said, Mr. Brown, our speaker canceled on the last minute. Said, do you have enough energy to give another speech? And I said, no, I'm tired. He said, we can pay your full fee. I said, the Lord is able. You know, Red Fox said, money can't buy you happiness, but it can make a big down payment, you know? So they took me over to the Georgia World Congress Center, Kim, and when I looked in the room, people were very close to the stage. And I said, can I go to the restroom for a minute? They said, yes. I went to the restroom and I took my mascara out. I just sweating and perspiring, getting it all touched up. And so when I came in the room, the lady wanted everybody to know that she knew me. She said, there he is, Les Brown. And I walked up on the stage and she kissed me on the cheek. And I kissed her on the cheek and left this big black smudge on her face. I didn't know what to do, so I just sat down. So the people down front started saying, there's something on your face. And she looked at me, she said, what are they saying? I said, I don't know. Finally, one nosy lady came down there, opened up her purse, gave her a mirror. Now, nobody asked her to do that. Getting in the Kool-Aid, don't know the flavor. She looks at me, she said, how did this get here? I said, I don't know, you think maybe this rubs off? So afterwards, when I kiss you, do not be alarmed. I now use waterproof Mademoiselle, all right? A brother's got to do what he's got to do. So I want you to think about your goals and dreams, your personal goals, your financial goals. I'm growing your organization, recruiting more people, developing your skills as a communicator. I want you to think about your social contribution. Part of what I'm doing is teaching people how to tell their story, but also teaching people that you are more powerful than cancer. I'm a 19-year cancer conqueror because of God's grace and mercy. I think the doctor should never tell someone they're terminally ill. What they should say is, my knowledge and ability to help you has terminated. Now you need to explore some other options. At this stage of my life, I'm training people how to work with young kids. How many of you have children? Raise your hands, please. I'm teaching them how to develop their mindset, how to become effective communicators, how to begin to dress like a prospect and not a suspect, how to select friends that's an asset to them rather than a liability, in technology, and how they can begin to use their skills and talents today rather than going out beating the pavement looking for a job. Teach them how to learn how to develop their own personal economy by doing what you're doing right now. And I believe that we can create a different future for our children when we work together to create communities of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. And that's what you're doing here now. That's what Eric and Marina wanted to do, creating communities of collaborative, achievement-driven relationships. And as you think about your goals and dreams right now, let us say together, it's possible. Yes, say it again, it's possible. See, preparing to come up and speak to you, that was not challenging. But let me share with you what it took me years to do, was to believe that I can do it, given my circumstances. Born in a abandoned building on a floor, being adopted, if both my birth parents stood up now and said, hello, son, I would not recognize either one. Being labeled educable, mentally retarded when I was in the 5th grade, and put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade, and fail again when I was in the 8th grade. Being raised in poverty, how you live your life is a result of the story you believed about yourself. And so being in the environment where I was born, that was my reality of being poor. I was stuck. How many of you ever been stuck? Raise your hands, please. And so as entrepreneurs, as leaders, I'm going to share with you what it is you do and the power of speaking. Write this down. Distract. See, when you as an entrepreneur, when you present the business, don't go in just trying to sell people on the business. No. What your goal is to sell them on a new story. How people live their lives as a result of the story they believe about themselves. When you show up, you do what Mr. Washington did for me. Write this down. You distract them from their current story. I'll never forget the gentleman I eulogized a few weeks ago when I first met him. He said, young man, go to the board to work this problem out for me. I said, oh, sir, I can't do that. Why not? I'm not one of your students. Look at me. Yes, sir. Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I can't, sir. Why? And the other students started laughing. He's DT. He's a twin. His brother's smart. His sister, she's smart, but he's DT. What's DT? He's a dumb twin. And I said, I am, sir. As the students laughed, and he came from behind his desk, he looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And so that was a turning point in my life. On one hand, I was humiliated, but on the other hand, I was liberated. Because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. And so when you approach someone about this business, what you're doing is you are interrupting their current story. And when they come to an opportunity meeting, or when you make the presentation of what the possibilities are and how they can change their financial income, you're dismantling their limited belief system and begin to allow them to become, as Mother Teresa would say, inspired, distract, dispute, and inspired to become like a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter in their lives. You're selling them a story of hope. You're selling them a story of possibility. You're selling them a story of controlling their own personal economy. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, bring your energy level up. And that's what we do as entrepreneurs. That's what you do when you make a presentation. How important is that? That's major. That's major. More people died, according to the CDC, last year from, listen to this, suicide than from traffic accidents. People have lost hope. When you speak, you're giving people hope. When there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. When you speak with conviction, when you speak strategically and tell the story of why you said yes, tell the story on how you saw this opening up the door for a new life for yourself. Is it easy? Of course, it's not easy. It's challenging. It requires patience. It requires persistence. It requires a willingness to do whatever is required to create a new life for yourself. Give yourselves a round of applause for giving people another shot, another chance. And see, I didn't do what I'm doing now for 14 years because I assumed I couldn't do it because I had never done it before. There are people who are going to tell you no. They're living off an assumption. They assume because they've never done it before, they can't do it. Or they assume because they've been involved in the business before and things didn't work out, and so this won't work out. I didn't do what I'm doing now because I assume because I don't have a college education. I assume because I had to compete with people with PhDs and MBAs. I assume because of my lack of education, I could not compete. How many of you ever decided not to do something based upon an assumption? Raise your hands, please. And so that's why it's important for us to be strategic and experiential and being able to tell the story to distract them from their current story, distract, dispute, break down the limited belief system, and inspire them to say yes to a new opportunity in their lives. And so as a result, I didn't do what I'm doing now because I had such a tremendous inferiority complex because of my lack of college education. I stopped myself. There's an African proverb that says there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. And so as you look at yourself, as you look at your goals, look at your dreams, it's very important that you take time every day and write this down to retrain your thinking. You got to retrain your thinking because how we live our lives is a result of the story that we bought into. I had to retrain my thinking because of what I saw. Studies indicating that the decisions we make in life is directly related to the things that we saw, the things that we experienced, the conversations we've been exposed to between age 0 and 5. And so as a result of that, my experience, I had to begin to engage in a process of retraining my mindset. And I didn't even know what I was doing. But this man, Mr. Sidursky, I'll never forget. Leslie, come in here. Yes, sir. Look at my shoes. You can shine them better than this? I do apologize, sir. I'll do a better job. And his wife said, please don't yell at him like that. That's not nice. He's just a kid. He's only 10 years old. He should do a better job than that. He can. I said, it's okay, Mrs. Sajersky. And he should have yelled at me. He was a very rude, arrogant guy, but he was a kind guy too. What I loved about him, every day he had a routine. It was his time in the morning he spent working on his mind. And I wanted to be in the office as he was shining his shoes, listening to Earl Nightingale. All of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. Listening to Dr. Dennis Waitley, people form habits and habits create futures. Listening to Zig Ziglar, if you give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want. Listening to Jim Rohn, when the end comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. Listening and reading the words of Winston Churchill, the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but at the end, there it is. Reading from my favorite book, Be Not Conformed to This World, Be Transformed by the Renewing of Your Mind. Listening to these words help to create a different vision for myself. Some of you are already doing it right now. I'm saying this is the time more than ever that you want to begin to inoculate yourself with positive words, coming to conventions, showing up on meetings, being on the calls, to make yourself unstoppable, to get out of your mind the polluting negative thoughts that's causing most people to go through life being stuck because they're volunteer victims. Somebody said that many people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65 because they got so much garbage in their minds. You are here because you've got a clear vision of what you want and where you're going. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, bring your energy level up. Yes, yes. You want more. You want more. You're different. You're different than everybody else. Don't worry if they don't get it. Don't try and convince people to do this business. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. You are not like everybody else. You can walk outside and find pigeons, but if you're looking for eagles, it's going to take you a minute. You are different. It's lonely at the top. How many of you know it's lonely at the top? Raise your hands. It's lonely at the top, but you eat better. That's what I'm talking about. You're different. One great entrepreneur said, I choose not to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon if I can. I seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to live from hand to mouth. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the still calm of utopia. I will never cower before any master, nor bend to any threat. It's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid, to face the world boldly and say, this I have done. You showed up because you're building a business that you can stand and say, I did this. I did this. This is my dream. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. There's something in you that wouldn't allow you to stop. Dr. Howard Thurman, he said there's something in each and every one of you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. It will be perhaps the only guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. And I say to you, the reason you showed up, even though you couldn't afford to be here, the reason you drove hundreds of miles, flew around the world, there's something in you, in your heart of hearts, that says, I'm not going to let anybody pull my strings. It said, I'm going to control my own personal economy. It said, I've got a dream I want to achieve. I want my children to have a choice of the kind of education that they want. That said, I am the captain of my ship. That said, I'm going to control my destiny. And whatever it takes, I'm willing to do the work. Give yourselves a round of applause. President John F. Kennedy had a decision to make. The decision was whether or not to call a news conference and tell the world the United States was going to go to the moon. And I submit to you that the decision to do that was very risky. And what governed his thinking is what governed your thinking when you decided, I'm going to do this. See, the technology did not exist. The answer of what will it take did not exist. No one had ever done it before. But he made a decision. He looked at Werner von Braun, the most brilliant scientist of that day. And he said, Werner, what will it take for us to go to the moon? And he spoke 5 words. And those 5 words, I think, is what governs most entrepreneurs. Those 5 words, I think, is what give people like you the courage to pursue their dreams. Those 5 words is what I think people who are pioneers, people who are breaking new ground, make decisions on. He said, what will it take for us to go to the moon? And the response was, the will to do it. As you look at yourself, as you look at your business, as we look into 2015 and beyond, what will it take for you to increase your business? The will to do it. What will it take for you to become more powerful in your presentation skills and be able to increase the number of people, to quadruple your business? The will to do it. What will it take for you when others are quitting because of the rejections, when others are stopping because they just become so discouraged and they have creditors breathing down their neck and they have family members and friends telling them they're a fool? What is it that will allow you to have the mental resiliency to keep on keeping on, to keep your commitment to your commitment? The will to do it. Every time I say it and ask you a question, I want you to say the will to do it. What will it take for you to build your business? What will it take for you to increase your recruiting? What will it take for you to bring out the greatness in you and to make your mark? What will it take for you to become a high achiever and to bring out the billionaire in you? Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, I've got the will. I've got the will. Mr. Washington, this man who taught me, he said, Mr. Brown, you want to make it in life? He said, number 1, develop your mind. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Number 2, develop your communication skills. Once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. 3, practice the principle of OQP. Only quality people. Let us say together, only quality people. As you think about your goals and dreams, this is not for everybody. You want to build an organization with only quality people, not people who need more, but people who want more. You want to surround yourself with people that are hungry. People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. People that are hungry do what they know not what they feel. See, I didn't do this for years because I knew it would be hard. And Mr. Washington said something to me. Mike Williams, my mentor, you want to go online and find his book, The Road to Your Best Stuff. He said something that grabbed me, and I want you to put this someplace where you can see it. See, you build this business through persistence. You got to affirm, I will persist until I succeed. You build it through patience. It takes time to grow orchids. It's faster to grow roses, but orchids, that takes time. You have to have persistence, you have to have patience and perseverance. It takes courage to come back again and again and again. Because in order to build the business, it's hard work. It's H-A-R-D and H-E-A-R-T. Are you with me there? Write this down. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. If you do what is easy, point out all this is some pyramid scheme. Oh, I've been talking to people and nobody's interested. I talked to people and they said no. Oh, I've done that before. Come up with excuses. If you do what is easy, always looking for a way to give yourself a pass, to let yourself off the hook, to do what everybody else is doing, a job, the journey of the broke. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. People working on jobs that they hate, The heart attack rate on Monday morning between 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock increases by 35%. People going to jobs that they hate. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. Working 2 and 3 jobs for one paycheck and no job security. But there's something in you that says, you know, I'm making some good money, but you know what? I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. A friend of mine, she's here. I'm so honored to be in her presence, Kim Wee. She went to do a presentation, drove from Los Angeles to San Francisco, and 20 people in a room, and they said, yes, she's an electrifying speaker, great presenter. Yes. And when she left, the Dream Busters took the floor. And when the Dream Busters finished with those people who had goals and dreams of a new life, they sabotaged Kim. And they called her before she can get home and said, no, we're not going to do it. And at that moment, she could have quit. Write this down, your private voice. Every entrepreneur, you have 2 things going for you. You have an energy signature that some of you will be working with, and you have a private voice. 8 to 9 decisions out of 10 that you make are governed by that private voice. When they called and said no, her private voice said, you're wasting your time. You don't need to do this. Your husband is a doctor. You don't need to do this. You're a mother. You need to spend more time with your child. Get this crazy idea out of your mind. But rather than do that, she started talking to herself. Rather than do that, she started listening to motivational messages that would build herself up from the inside. And as a result of her saying, yes, I can do this, as a result of ignoring the Dream Busters, now she's one of the top 10 producers in the world in multi-level marketing. Give her a round of applause. Kim Wee, stand up. Give her a round of applause. Yes. Yes. In the world. And that's why you are here. There's a voice in you that has said, I can do this. I know others have failed. I can do this. I know others have said that I can't do it. I've had setbacks in life. How many of you had some failures? Raise your hands, please. How many of you had some no's in your life? Raise your hands, please. Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, make no your vitamin. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to make it in life, you got to know your vitamin. You've got to know every no brings you a step closer to a yes. Anybody can stop because someone said no. But there's something in you, in your heart of hearts, that's saying, I'm not a quitter. There's something in you that says, I've got the will to do it. There's something in you that says, I'm going to find a way. Mr. Brown, what do you want to do with your life, young man? Sir, I'd like to become a disc jockey. Why, sir? Because I want to buy my mother a home. He said, great. Listen to Paul Harvey. Here are my car keys. Go in the car, 12 noon. He comes on every day. Why? Because if you want to be successful, study the people that are doing what you want to do. He's the best in the world when it comes to communication. I suggest to you, as you look at what you want to achieve, look at the top achievers. Understand and know they are only an example. They are not an exception. They're an example of what you can do, because success leaves clues. Follow the system, watch the leaders, and study them. I did that. And he said, Mr. Brown, detoxify your life. Let all the negative people in your life go. Can I change them? No. It's a full-time job changing yourself. He's right. He's right. You can't change people. It's hard changing yourself. And there's some people so negative they can walk into a dark room and begin to develop. He said, practice OQP, only quality people. He said, I want you to see yourself as a disc jockey. You want to be a disc jockey? Visualize yourself being on radio. You want to be a top performer? Visualize yourself building the business. Visualize yourself coming across the stage, accepting an award for your recognition of your hard work. See it in your mind's eye. He said, I'll give you all your eyes can see. And I had to see myself on stage as I'm presenting right now. I've been here many times before I showed up. In my mind, all your goals are achieved twice. First in the mind, then and without. And then finally, he said, Mr. Brown, I said, yes, sir. You want to be a disc jockey? Yes, sir. He said, you got to be hungry. I said, why you keep saying that? He said, people that are hungry are relentless. People that are hungry, unstoppable. People that are hungry, no excuse is acceptable. I said, sir, I'm hungry to take care of my mother. All my life, people have always compared me to my brother because I'm not smart like him. It takes me longer to get things than most people. I have to hear it again and again. But once I got it, sir, I got it. You're the only person that never called me stupid or dumb. You never called me DT, the dumb twin. You look at me like I'm somebody. I've never had a father, and I watch you, and I want to be able to talk like you. I get choked up sometimes because I can't get my thoughts out, sir. But I want to do what you do, and I want to make my mama proud. He said, you can do it, Mr. Brown. I've given you all you can get from me. Now it's on you. If you want to be a disc jockey, go out into the marketplace. I went to apply for a job on Miami Beach. Milton Butterball Smith was a He looked at me with rage. He says, "Go get me some coffee." I said, "Yes, sir." As you think about your goals and dreams, you've got to make room of home. I became the errand boy for the disc jockeys. I'd go get their lunch and their dinner. And I stand in the control room watching them move their hands, knowing my time will come. Let us say together, I expect to live my dream. I began to serve them. My favorite book says the greatest among you will be your servant. Learn how to be a good servant. And so pretty soon, I was, write this down, building a relationship. People build relationships with people they know, like, and trust, and have proven themselves. And they said, "Look here, young boy, who cleaned my car today?" "I did, sir." "How much do I owe you?" "Nothing, sir." You cleaned it inside and out, you waxed it." "Yes." "I don't owe you anything?" "No, sir. I just wanted to help out." Write this down. Give before you ask. I was giving service. I was giving service first. He said, "Whoa. Yeah, Donna Ross and the Supremes are coming to town, the Four Tops and the Temptations. Here are my car keys. Pick them up and take them to the Fontainebleau Hotel on Miami Beach." I said, "Be my pleasure to serve you, sir." I would drive these entertainers all over Miami Beach in the disc jockeys' big long Cadillacs. I didn't have any driver's license, but I was driving like a handsome. Then one day, it was a Saturday afternoon, a disc jockey by the name of Rockin' Roger was drinking while he was on the air. He began to slur his words. He got so drunk he was about to fall off the chair. It was a Saturday afternoon, and I was the only one there, looking at him through the control room window, walking back and forth, young, ready, and hungry. I waited for about 20 minutes and I called him back and said, "Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody." He said, "Young boy, you know how to work the control." I was hungry. I was hungry. I was hungry. Shake someone's hand and say, "You got to be hungry." Shake someone's hand and say, "You got to be hungry." You got to be hungry. So I'd like to leave this with you. I don't know what you want to do, but I believe that Zig was right. You give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want. I believe Jim Rohn was right. When the end comes to you, let it find you conquering the new mountain, not sliding down an old one. I believe Earl Nightingale was right. All of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. I believe that Dr. Peel was right. Always strive to get on top in life because the bottom is overcrowded. I believe Mike Williams is right. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. So I dedicate this to you, to the dreamer in you. Something my mother used to love to hear me say. Leslie, yes ma'am, mama. Say that thing for me, boy, that makes me feel good. I dedicate this to you because it's one thing to be in the business, but there's something else when the business is in you. You're here because it's in you. It's in your heart. And it says simply this: if you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famish, or gulf, sickness or pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God, you'll get it. God bless you. God bless your dream. God bless America. Thank you so very much. Mr. Les Brown. Good man. Thank you. All right, have a seat real quick. How'd you enjoy that? I got to tell you about an event that Les agreed to help us do. It's coming up this February. How many people would like to be a presenter like Les Brown? How many people would like to be coached on how to be more powerful like Les Brown? Okay, well, Les normally does a 2-day speaker academy. He teaches people how to be professional speakers, how to get out and inspire people with words. It's normally pretty expensive. I asked him if he would discount it pretty deeply for our audience to be able to help more people participate in it. It's this February 27th and 28th, 2 days. Les is going to do a network marketing speaker academy here in Las Vegas, 2 days intensive, where he's going to train you how to do what he does. So Les, just tell them very briefly, or summarily, if that's even a word.
I started out with my story. What I do, how many have had some disappointments in your life? Raise your hands, please. How many have had some setbacks? Raise your hands. How many have ever gone through divorce? Raise your hands, please. How many have ever lost a job? Raise your hands, please. So what I teach you how to do is how to give a message out of your mess. I teach you how and why it's important for people to learn how to tell your story. Because the goal is when people leave your presence, they will feel better about themselves, but talking about you, because you have used your story strategically to distract, dispute, and inspire, to distract them from the story they currently believe about themselves. And through the experiential and strategic telling of your story, then they will now begin to become open to the possibility of creating a new story with you as their coach. And I want you to write this down. Something that I invented, and I created this. It's called three-dimensional communication. Three-dimensional communication. And what you're doing, you impact, it teaches you how to use your story to expand their minds so they can begin to see, I can do this. To touch their hearts. People make decisions based upon emotions, but they're justified with logic. To expand their minds, touch their heart, and ignite their spirit so that they will say yes to their life. They say yes to a greater life and a greater possibility. Because, and write this down, you have an energy signature. So what I do is teach you how to use your story, your energy signature, and this is major, to navigate an experience with an audience. An experience. See, people think in order to communicate, you got to just do a information download. No, if information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. So, but you have an experience that's unique to you, to your energy signature. And so three-dimensional communication allows you to impact the mind, the heart, and the spirit, and allows you to begin to create for yourself a global imprint to influence people, to bring the best out of people, to motivate and inspire people to do things they don't even realize that they're capable of doing. But because they were in your presence and how you presented yourself, that presentation power will transform their lives. How many of you want to learn how to do that? Raise your hands, please. Yes.
Here's what I will tell you. Learning how to be a presenter changed my life. It made a radical impact. It encouraged the people in my organization that they were following somebody of value. It opened doors for me that were closed before that. So to be able to learn from somebody like Mr. Brown over the course of 2 days, kind of an intensive, immersive experience, is something that I'm happy to bring to the network marketing community. So give him one big round of applause. And if you'd like to be a part of that, make sure you take action.
Watch the language that you expose your mind to. There's certain comedians I love them. They're talented. I just can't sit through the cursing. I can't do it. I love Chris Rock. He's a talented guy. I met him. He's an introvert, very reflective guy. Can't sit through his program. He's got to drop the F word too many times for me. Listen, that's not good for your mental and physical health. Do you hear me? There's some things that you can make funny and you never have to ever use profanity. But today, it's about how low can you go. It's today, how vulgar can you get. And today, these young people, they respect nobody, nothing. And so my heart goes out to parents who have children, these young kids today, what they're being exposed to. My God, it's something else. I say to you, you got goals and dreams, you're going through some tough times right now, won't cost you nothing. Go on YouTube, find everything that I have recorded and watch it every day, hours on end. It will change your life. It will change your life. It will teach you how to become successful. It's easier now to become successful than ever before. You have no competition. Now, here's something else. Secure yourself. I called to talk to a friend of mine who worked at a radio station in Detroit with Mildred Gaddis, and they laid him off. Brilliant guy. Laid him off. Why? Because he didn't do the job? No, because of politics, station politics. You got a job, you got to do 2 and 3 jobs for one paycheck and no job security. You lose your job on foolishness. Foolishness. So this is a time that you want to, one, Put things in your mind that will expand your mind, that will increase your belief in yourself, that will give you mental resiliency. And two, you want to secure your own future. You got to create yourself. You've got to create your own job. You got to look at yourself and say, what is it I want to do? What talents, abilities that I have? And if you don't have any, go to the library, go or Google something. Get on Google and develop a talent. There's a guy has Ping Pong Studio. Just help him to do a commercial. He has all type of videos that he's used clips from movies and has my voice in the background and Eric Thomas. And he created these inspirational videos. And I said, hey, how did you learn how to do this when I found it? And he said, I went out to Hollywood to try and get into the movie business, and I failed, and I had a construction company. I came back home, and then I just got online and decided that I wanted to get involved in film editing. And I found a place on Google. I Googled it, and I taught myself how to edit. Now he has his own company, editing films, earning over $1 million a year. You hear me? See, if you turn off the television and turn up your life, if you let go of negative people who fill in your head with head trash, and you focus your time and energy on developing another skill, you'll be surprised at what you can do. I'm 70 years young. Before the end of the month, I'm flying. I'm going to Germany. I'm going to speak in Germany. Before the end of the month, I'm going to London, England. Before the end of the month, I'm going to speak in Australia. I'm traveling around the world, and somebody else is paying me to come in to motivate them, to talk to them, and I'm very glad to do it. Whatever. I'm telling you, I love this. Listen to me. Listen to me. You can design a life that you can be proud of, where you're making money doing what you love to do, earning the kind of money that you deserve. If you spend time saturating your mind with positive material, stay away from people whose negative conversations can affect your attitude about yourself, and spend some time learning something. What is it you know today that you did not know yesterday? Make it a point that you're going to learn something new every day. When I hang up, I've got some things that I'm looking at. I'm developing new skills. My goal is to learn something about the internet every day. I've got these skills that I'm working on that will serve me well, because most people my age, they're tired. They tired, honey. They tired. They got one foot on a banana peel and the other one in the graveyard. I'm having a great time. Life begins at 70. If you have a positive mindset, if you're looking for ways to improve yourself, and if you stay away from negative, energy-draining people who have no goals and no dreams, I believe each one of you listening to me right now, listen to me, that there's something in you that attracted you to my voice. And that something in you, I call that your higher consciousness. There's a presence in you. That inner man, that inner woman, that knows that you can do more, that you can have more, that you can achieve more. And that if you honor that still small voice within you and continue to saturate your mind with positive things, continue to look for people with talents, abilities, and skills, and surround yourself with people that you can learn from, people that you can grow from, and set for yourself big goals and dreams. There's some power in pursuit of a dream. When you are pursuing a dream, you develop confidence, you develop skills, you develop new relationships, you develop resources that eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you if you live a life where you're pursuing goals outside of your comfort zone, where you're pursuing projects. See, we grow from people and projects. Look at the people in your life. Well, how many projects do you have in your life that you're working on to make a difference? I'm working on my legacy. I'm a great-great-grandfather. So I'm working on what will my mark be? How many more lives can I touch? How many more lives can I change before I check out? Let me share something with you. A lady went with a friend of hers whose father died. And her friend's father was a grumpy guy, mean-spirited. He had no friends. Nobody visited him. And when he died, she fulfilled his wishes. He wanted to be cremated. And she followed behind the hearse with her friend to take her father to be cremated. And she said she stood there as they first prayed for her father, and then they pushed him in. And they waited. They went and did a few things, and they came back. And they collected his ashes in an urn about a day or 2 days later. And he wanted his ashes to be thrown in the wind. And she said, as her friend threw her father's ashes in the wind, and the wind blew the ashes, she said what grabbed her and moved her so deeply was, as the ashes disappeared, it was as if her friend's father never existed. Because he didn't live a life of contribution. He didn't have any projects that he was working on that would make a difference. He didn't build relationships with people that could have helped him do some of the things that he was sent here to do. No one was there to witness the throwing of his ashes but his daughter and a stranger. Most people go through life like that. They die unlived lives. And I believe there's something in you that's causing you to hear my voice. Something in you that says, I want to live. See, it's one thing to survive, but what it takes to live and what it takes to survive is two different things. Most people in survival mode are caught up in weapons of mass distractions. So, my message to you, and you already know it, fill your head with words that can empower you. Spend several hours. I do it on a regular basis. Every day I have to spiritualize my thoughts. I have to listen to things. Why? Because you're going to take some hits. Think it not strange that you're going to face the fiery furnaces of this world. You're going to take some hits. Something's going to happen to you or someone you care about, and you need the mental resiliency to accommodate the things that will be coming your way. Well, that's nothing happened to me. Don't worry, just keep on living. Trust me. Trust me on this. Your time will come. Your name will be called. So isolate yourself. Take time every day. I call it God moments. Your time with God, that you won't read any text messages or emails or take any phone calls, but you just spend that time listening and reading and praying and meditating to fill yourself up, to build mental resiliency. Next thing, make it a point to learn something. To learn something that will allow you to continue to grow, that will allow you to continue to stimulate your thinking, your imagination. Because we're here to do a work. There's a calling on your life and my life. And as we learn, as we grow and expand, you'll discover things you can do that you don't even realize right now. Most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they aim too low and hit. I did that for many years. I didn't think I can do what I'm doing. I'm flying around the world, people paying me, strangers, to come in and teach them how to be successful. I didn't think I could do this because I don't have a college education, because I was in special education all through school and labeled educable mentally retarded. I didn't think I could do this. Listen to me. There are things you can do that you don't know, and you've got to challenge yourself. Well, I tried some things and they didn't work out. So what? You will fail your way to success. Walter P. Chrysler failed in the automobile industry 42 times, but my God, look what happened to 43. You will fail your way to success. And the other thing is, start watching people, observing them. People, see, I believe in energy. I believe in energy. There's some people that don't need to be in your space. There's some telephone calls you don't need to take. Some conversations that you don't need to expose yourself to, because it will pollute your mind with ignorance. And so start being selective of who you give your time to. Ask the question, what value is this person bringing to me? Am I growing mentally, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually? Do they bring me peace? I call a friend of mine, Dwight Pleasure, one of my platinum speakers. He gives me a sense of peace. He's my spiritual brother. I love talking to him. John Garcia. There are certain people in my life that to hear their voice brings me a sense of peace and comfort. Certain people I talked to, I was with Alicia and Lorette today, two friends of mine who earn over $100,000 a month, and I struck a partnership with them. And those are my money-making partners. When I'm with them, the ideas are just flowing out of me. Flowing, because of that kind of creative energy that I was in. Who's in your corner? Dr. Dennis Kimbrough out of Atlanta was right. He said, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group. I used to be Alicia's mentor. Now she is my mentor. I'm learning from her, and I'm proud of it. Here's what I want to say to you. This is your time. Make it a discipline. Dedicate yourself. Give yourself homework to work on your mind, to work on your health, to declutter your life, to clean your life up, to clean up your conversation, to start reading a minimum of 20 to 30 pages of something positive every day. A friend of mine, Mike Sims, he did something for a year, and he said it changed his life. He earned his first million at 26. And I said, well, how did you change your life? He said, man, for 1 year, I never turned on television. And I said, you didn't watch television? He says, no. I hadn't watched the news. I said, how'd you find out what was going on? I said, people told me. And I wasn't even interested. He said, I had enough problems of my own. Why should I watch other people's problems? He said, and it changed his life. As my health is stronger now than ever before, and part of my regimen, part of my prayers and my meditation and my exercise and my walking and meeting with my fitness coach, I don't watch television because it's not good for me mentally. It's too much dysfunctional stuff on there. I was in the airport and saw this girl that Chris Brown beat up or whatever, and that's the one that got that song out. Wow. So it shows ignorance comes in all kind of packages, boy. Vulgarity, indecency. Unbelievable. No sense of decency. Wow. Don't listen to it. Don't let your children listen to it. Don't entertain ignorance in the name of entertainment because it's hip. You got to restore respect and decency. Vulgarity and profanity is not good for your brain. When I train young men, I tell them to affirm an affirmation that when you use language that's degrading to women or to yourself, profanity is the strongest expression of a weak mind. Write that down. Put that up someplace, particularly in barbershops. Profanity is the strongest expression of a weak mind. You have something special. You have greatness within you. Challenge yourself, push yourself, surround yourself with people who have goals and dreams, mastermind and encourage and inspire each other. And you will develop a strategy and a synergy to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. You have something special. You have greatness within you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Stacey?
Wow, 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 wow. Talk about being on fire tonight. Woo!
This is a controversial call tonight.
Yeah, I said, oh, no, he did.
Because there are a lot of people who think that vulgarity is normal. They think that it's, I mean, I was on a bus, a shuttle, going from one airline to the other, and there were two young men. They're probably about between 24 and 27. And they were talking, going back and forth with each other. MF this, and man, I saw that B, and going back and forth with a shuttle full of people, and we are the only people of color on there. I wanted to crawl under a chair, say, I don't know them. The people were looking at me saying, can you say something to them? And that when they're gone that over that deeply, there's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. One of the first things when my nephew gets out of prison, he has these tattoos all around his neck that says, I just got out of prison. Don't ask him, what kind of job are you going to get? Who's going to hire you? You got these signs that indicate this is where I've been spending my time. I suffer from HIV, hood-infected virus, AIDS, addiction to incarceration and death syndrome. I said, you're intelligent? You used to travel with me on the road? I said, come on. You didn't come out of that kind of home. Now, your father went to prison, but my sister raised you to be a respectable young man. You were on the honor roll. You got an academic scholarship, and you decided to go to school and spend your time partying and doing drugs and breaking in people's houses in Atlanta, and got arrested, and a lady judge recognized your intelligence as you told her that you had a girlfriend that was pregnant and you have learned your lesson and you will change your behavior, and she gave you a break and put you on probation, and you went out and broke in another house while on probation, got arrested again. And she gave you another break, and she said, I don't ever want to see you again, and you came back a third time. That's what I call retardation, stupid with a capital S. And I don't like to use those types of words, but you know what? You got to call it when you see it. You know, Maya Angelou said, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It's a duck. It's a duck.
Absolutely, Les.
Yes, and if you know what, if you hang around these people, it will drive you to drinking. You just snap. I mean, and he had the unmitigated gall. My nephew had the unmitigated gall, and I'm so glad I wasn't there to say to my sister, "I'm here because of you. You weren't a good mother." Look here, I'd have body slammed him. Let me tell you something. She did all she could do, but he decided to run the streets with his homies. But when he needs money on his books, he doesn't call his homies. He calls my sister, his mother. Can you put some on my books?
Wow. Wow.
Exactly what I say. Wow. But you know what? We have to. There's some people and some young people that life will have to teach them some things that we can never teach them. There's some people, they have to get it from life. They have to get it from life. Don't waste your time. I told my sister, don't waste your time. Don't call me about no money. I don't bail out retarded people. Don't. I never. Don't throw good money after crazy behavior. That they know better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You can't reward bad behavior, Les. And what you just talked about, I mean, there was so much in tonight's call to convict every person that's listening to play a bigger game and to really leave a mark. And you've been an inspiration to me and all of the platinums with what we're creating. And one of the things that I do is work with young people and the language. Les, what you said is so true. I have to stop them and correct them so many times about the words that they are giving life to as they come out of their mouth. And I'm proud to say that, sometimes even the most interesting characters will pause and say, "Oh, sorry, miss," because they know I don't tolerate it in my space. And if more of us would just stand up and be examples and use the kind of behavior and language that we want them to model, it would give them more opportunities to self-correct and really be on a better path. But as you said, if they're not willing, if they're not in a space where they feel affirmed, when they understand that they don't have to use profanity to express their thoughts and feelings, then we're laying down on our job of uplifting and changing the generation that's here with us now.
But you know something? This is a different generation. See, you're not in my age category, but when I was coming along, my mother taught us to say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. And if the neighbors saw you doing something, boy, you better stop. I'm going to tell Mamie on you. I was respectful of our neighbors, and they can correct me. Let me share something with you. These young people today, it's a different kind of animal. A different kind of animal. I was talking to 3 young girls. They probably went to speak at this school, and they had a break, a lunch break or something. And so I was crossing the street, and these 2 girls talking to another girl about how they're going to beat her behind, and they didn't say behind, and they're calling all kind of B's. And I said, "You are little queens. Why don't you make a decision to clean up your conversation and be respectful of each other? You are our future. You are the future Michelle Obamas." And one of them said, "Why don't you kiss our boom?"
What?
She said, "Why don't you kiss our," and you know what she said?
Yeah.
Whoa. Wow. My mouth dropped open. It took my breath. And I started laughing. And so one girl, a 4th girl, she just watched. She didn't say anything. She didn't observe. She said, "Why did you laugh? Weren't you insulted?" I said, "No." I said, "I thought about something my mother had on her mirror when I was a kid." She said, "Oh, Lord, help me keep my nose out of other people's business." And these young girls, at some point in time, we don't know that I just dropped a seed. At some point in time, one of them might take root. And I'm just very glad that one didn't take a knife out or call their boyfriend up to jump on me. That's not uncommon. And I just said, God, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I spent 3 hours last night, 3.5 hours last night, thinking about what's next, the projects. Where should I go? Is anybody interested? I want to start a movement to save young men and young girls. I got a training for that. That one, change their mindset. 2, teach them how to become effective communicators. 3, teach them how to dress like a prospect and not a suspect. 4, teach them how to develop a relationship that's an asset to them and not a liability. And 5, teach them how to earn income over the internet. Even if they have a felony in their record, they can earn money and never have to go out and be rejected in the job market. But guess what? The majority, 99% of my engagements, I'm leaving the country. You know, they ask me, given the state of the people in your country who look like you, how do you have time for us? I was born and raised in Liberty City. They don't call me in Liberty City or Overtown in Miami to come there and speak or train. That's where I started. I was a state legislator in Columbus, Ohio. I was a state legislator and for 3 terms and used to lead demonstrations of 10 to 15,000 people to demonstrate against things in the system that was maintaining our detriment. They don't invite me to come and speak or implement a training program that will have long-range impact to eliminate what I call HIV, hood-infected virus, or AIDS, addiction and incarceration and death syndrome. No. I went to church in Cleveland. I took my time, volunteered, went to a church in Cleveland, and when it was time for me to speak, they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, the Cavaliers might have come on." And the minister said, "Whoa, sorry, Mr. Brown," and they ran out of the church. Do you hear me? I never got to speak.
Wow.
I walked real slow, hoping that one will say, I said, "God, just give me one. Just give me one." And most of them were ex-offenders. Have one stop me. And I walked slow toward my car, saying, "Touch one of them, Lord. Touch one that I could talk to. That's my assignment. Like Mr. Washington touched me." And by the time I got to my car, I was crying like a baby because not one stopped. Not one. The parking lot emptied. Followed behind a minister who had a brand new car, collected from them. And there's an old saying, wherever you find yourself, at some point in time, you made an appointment to be there. And I believe that, and my advice to you and to the other platinum speakers from what I have learned, and there's a book called Change or Die, and it's first scientific book and study done. If I had known what I know now, I would have used my time differently. And part of what they say is that 9 out of 10 people will rather die than change. Would rather die than change. Yes, and that's been proven. But here's what. Jesus said, "Whosoever will, let him come. Whosoever will, let him come." I walked slow. I didn't call anybody. I walked slow so that somebody who was willing to call me, to stop me and say, "Hey, mister, can I talk to you?" as I did with Mr. Washington. Mr. Washington, I'm the one, sir. Look at me. My mother works in the cafeteria. They call me the dumb twin. You spoke to me that changed my life. Sir, thank you. I'm the one, sir. I'm the one. And I was hoping that one of those young men would say, I'm the one. But it didn't happen then, but it happened later on someplace else. And so whosoever will, work with the willing. Work with the willing. Don't waste your time with people who are not ready yet. There's a book called The Kabbalion I read many years ago that says the lips of the wise are sealed to the ears of the ignorant. And so, and Scripture says, you know, don't cast pearls before swines, lest they turn and rend you. Don't waste your time trying to talk to people of low consciousness, or they get angry at you because they can't hear you. They can't hear you. And so that's why whatever I can do to help you and Anita, because you're willing, and the other platinum speakers, you're willing to invest in yourself, to work in yourself, train yourself, you're willing to be coachable. Most people are not willing. They're not willing. We teach you how to become a member of the 2%ers. Only 2% of the world population ever earn over $1 million in their lifetime. I've done it 65 times. And now with what we have available and what I've been exposed today with Alicia and Lorette and a guy named Eben, you will do, it took me 3 years to do my first million. You'll be able to do it in a fraction of the time because of the tools that we have available. This is the greatest time in history. And for every African-American male that goes to college, 100 go to jail. Wow. And so last night, I couldn't sleep. I was just tossing back and forth. Can I go up in there? Can they hear me? Well, they say, go sit down, old man. Oh, 70-year-old man. Give him a cane. Give him a wheelchair. Go sit down. We don't want to hear that positive mess from you. That's why I was just tossing and turning, saying, God, do I still have it? Do I still have it? Can I create a listening? Do I still have it? And I heard a voice in myself that says, yes, you still have it. I even called my son, Calvin. Do you think I still have it? He said, of course you do, Dad. Yes, you do. I said, but you hear me because you're my son. He said, but I couldn't always. That's true. And so sometimes even in the work that we do, giving people a spirit of optimism, we have our moments in the Garden of Gethsemane where we ask ourselves, do I still have it? Can I do this? Because I believe that God has given me grace to be able to do more work, because my work is not done. My best years are in front of me, not behind me. My best years, my greatest work is in front of me. And I'm looking for ways to get my mind around it. But ultimately, I believe that I have to start out in this new place where I started from. Edward Albee, in a play called The Zeus Story, said sometimes you have to go a long distance out of the way to come back a short distance correctly. And I believe that I'm going to have to walk by faith and not by sight. And that if no one shows up, I'm going to get the space and I'm going to put the word out. If no one shows up, so be it. But at least I would have done my part.
Well, before you say another word, of course you still got it. We're all still trying to catch up to you. Every time we think we got a little bit of a wing going on, you come and sweep it right to the next level. So everybody that's listening, you still have it. You've been so generous with what you have, and you inspire us. Like, you know what I love about you? You just don't talk about living a bigger life. You take the same action that you're encouraging everybody else to do. We can't sit back and not read and not grow and not think about projects and not do, because that's what you're modeling. That is your behavior. That is your legacy that you're leaving in us. And even though Calvin is your son and John Leslie and Ona, they too can see how they've transformed. They can see what it is that you have been able to do, but what they can do as a result of your example. So just like them, the platinum speakers, those who answer the call, those who say yes and appreciate what you have invested in us, will continue to be a part of this legacy of your movement of 1 million. I'll take it to 1 million now, as you say 100,000. I think we need to go to 1 million voices of hope for those that are willing. And Lord knows, Les, I learned my lesson. Work with the willing, because the rest will drag you down.
Discover the secrets to our dream. Want to be happy? Build a life, not just a business. Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. Want to be happy? Build a life, not just a business. Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too. You've got Michael Jordan.
One of the things I have realized, and many of us have, that if you want something out of life, if you want to change yourself, if you want to acquire something, if there's some goal that you want to reach, that is really not easy as some people will make us feel. That living your dream, changing your behaviors, overcoming negative habits, it's challenging. It's hard. That living alone is just very difficult. And once we begin to come to grips with the fact that living is difficult, life is very challenging. I heard a song once by a guy named Dimples called, "If it ain't one thing, it's another." I say to you, if it ain't one thing, it's 12 others. Always something. You will never, ever have a problem-free moment in life. Somebody said, and I like this, that you either in a problem or just left one or headed toward one. Anybody found that to be so? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. I mean, there's always something. So how do we begin to nurture that hunger? What are the characteristics or the qualities of people that are hungry? What will it take for me to get some of the things that I want? And being hungry for those things. Number one, you've got to work on yourself. It's very important that you engage in an ongoing process to develop you. Spend more time on yourself than what you've been spending. It's very important. You owe that to yourself. I was reading a book by Og Mandino called The University of Success. Read one line, gave me a chill. I didn't have to read anything else in the book. He said, many of us never realize our greatness because we become sidetracked by secondary activity. We spread ourselves too thin, don't know how to say no. And we find ourselves doing all kinds of things and never ever have time to do those things that we need to do to work on ourselves. And then there goes a second, there goes another second, there goes another second, and we can't stop and hold time. And before you know it, you wake up one day and you're behind in your dreams and your bills. So decide that you're going to take some time to work on you, that you deserve that from yourself, that your life deserves some prime time because you are creating your own production. As Michael Todd would say, you are the star of your show. You are the director. You're writing the script. And you will determine whether your life is a smash office hit or flop. You determine that.
I'm saying this is a time more than ever that you want to begin to inoculate yourself with positive words, coming to conventions, showing up on meetings,
being on the calls to make yourself unstoppable, to get out of your mind the polluting negative thoughts that's causing most people to go through life being stuck because they're volunteer victims. Somebody said that many people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65 because they got so much garbage in their minds. You are here because you've got a clear vision of what you want and where you're going. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, bring your energy level up. Yes, yes. You want more. You want more. You're different. You're different than everybody else. Don't worry if they don't get it. Don't try and convince people to do this business. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. You are not like everybody else. You can walk outside and find pigeons, but if you're looking for eagles, it's going to take you a minute. You are different. It's lonely at the top. How many of you know it's lonely at the top? Raise your hands. It's lonely at the top, but you eat better. That's what I'm talking about. You're different. One great entrepreneur said, I choose not to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon if I can. I seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to live from hand to mouth. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the still calm of utopia. I will never cower before any master, nor bend to any threat. It's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid, to face the world boldly and say, this I have done. You showed up because you're building a business that you can stand and say, I did this. I did this. This is my dream. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes, 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 yes.
We live in a world where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential. How many of you have ever been told that you couldn't do something? Raise your hands, please. You know, MIT did a study that if I say to you, you can't do that, that 16 people have to come along and say, you can do that, you can do that, you can do that, to neutralize that. And the 17th statement that you hear, you can do it, will be the one that will finally stick. So you have to watch who's speaking into you. You've got to begin to monitor your mind. And you've got to begin to literally be proactive in programming yourself to success. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You've got to take responsibility to make that happen. And as you begin to do that, you'll begin to see some incredible changes in your life. I understand now when Earl Nightingale said, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. As you begin to look at your dreams and look at your goals, write this down. Make know you're a vitamin. See, most people stop short of their dreams and park and get off the highway of life because of the rejections of life. You will always be a rejecter. It's no big deal. Jack Canfield said rejection is a myth. It's not like when somebody says no and then they slap you. No, it's just, to me, make know you're a vitamin. Get excited about the no. Why? Because every time someone says no, that brings you another step to a yes. You're getting closer. Trust me, you will win if you don't quit. You will win if you don't quit. Even a broke clock is right twice a day.
If you constantly remind yourself after every defeat, after every setback, every time you get knocked down, I've got a saying, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. See, a lot of people, because of failure, they stop believing. Let me share something with you. You will fail your way to success. Yes, 8 out of 10 millionaires have been financially bankrupt. You will fail your way to success. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. It doesn't matter how many times people tell you that you can't do it. It doesn't matter if you don't have a dime in the bank. You will fail your way to success.
Here's what I discovered that happens to you in life, that you will go through things, and while you're going through them, you can't understand why it's happening to you. But after you go through it, you get back and you look at it and you say, oh, now I understand why I needed that lesson. Have you ever happened to you? Raise your hand. Has it ever happened to you that I couldn't understand it then, but after I got through it, then I saw that was preparing me for bigger and better things. That as you go through the challenges of life and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you, don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go. See, but when you go at what you're going to deal with and you deal with the difficulties of it, when you handle those hard things close at hand, making those hard decisions right now that you don't want to make, learning those things that you don't like to do, but you know that in order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through. And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do, do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender and say, okay, all right, I cooperate, okay, I learned, okay. It had to wear me out a long time. So if it's hard, then do it hard. I want you to look at something right now. Think of some major goal you want, or maybe it's one you're already working on and you have experienced a lot of setbacks, a lot of defeats. You've experienced a lot of disappointment. Maybe you've already given up. And maybe you just need a little fire, a little encouragement to get back in the game again. Here's what I want you to look at. There are winners, and there are losers, and there are people who have not discovered how to win. And all they need is some coaching. All they need is some help and assistance, just a little support. All they need is some insight or a different strategy, a plan of action to make some adjustments that will open up the key to a whole new future for them, that will give them access to the unlimited power that they have within themselves. That's all that they need. So what I want you to do is think about something you want for you, that's real for you, that's important for you, that will give your life some special meaning and power. And I don't even want you to say, I can do that. I don't want you to assume that. See, 5 years ago, when I started out in this area, I would not have been able to make the mental leap that I would be up to where I am right now. I don't want you to begin to just psych yourself out. No. I want you to be able to say something to yourself that will enable you to maintain a level of integrity with yourself. That when you say this, even when you face tremendous setbacks, it will be a benchmark to keep you in the game, to keep you moving forward and experimenting and readjusting your strategy and your plan of action, continuously looking for ways to win. So what is that something? When you got an idea you want to move on, you might not have the money, you might not have the education, you might not have the support or the resources you need. What is that something that can keep us going, that will enable us to act on our dream? What's one of those keys that will begin to help us to discover the secrets to our dream? Here's what I want you to repeat after me, please, with power and conviction. Say, it's possible. That's all I want you to do when you look at your dream. Just say to yourself every day, it's possible. Just say that every day to yourself, it's possible. Because what does that do? See, it begins to change your belief system. See, the way in which we operate, ladies and gentlemen, it's a manifestation of what we believe, what's possible for us. Whatever you've done up to this point, all that it really is a duplication, it's a reproduction of what you believe subconsciously that you deserve and what's possible for your life. Before April 1954, the common belief, the universal belief, because it had been tried again and again and again, and people had failed, the belief was that man was not physically capable of breaking the 4-minute barrier, that he could not run a mile in less than 4 minutes. That was the belief on the planet. It had never been done. But here's what happened, ladies and gentlemen. Roger Bannister came along, and he broke the 4-minute barrier. Now, here's what's significant about that. Since that time, up to this day, over 20,000 people have done it, including high school kids. What changed? 20,000 people. What changed? Here's what happened when they got on the track. They knew it had been done. And because they knew it had been done, there was a new belief about this barrier, about this goal that was unreachable. And those 20,000 people got in a race believing, knowing in their heart that someone had done it, that it's possible, that they could do it. And I'm saying that if you know anybody that had some goal, some dream, something they wanted to do, and they did it, then I'm saying that you know in your heart that if someone has done it, then you can do it. It's possible. And that if someone can make their dream become a reality, that it's possible that you can make your dream become reality.
Today, in order for us to make it, even before the coronavirus, the suicide rate in America had increased by 32%. Today, in order for us to make it, we have to create what we're doing now, collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. One of the major issues we're facing right now is loneliness. And one of the major determinants of a long life, I thought it would be plant-based diet or becoming a vegetarian or a vegan or exercise. It's positive social relationships. That's the main factor.
I have a son who suffers from a mental illness, bipolar. Mm-hmm. And many times, like during this period in the last few months, he has decided he don't want to take his medication. I don't care how old your kids become. He's 35. They're always your children. So not only does it keep me up at night, but it keeps me singing a song. You about to make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. You about to make me act a fool. Up in here. I remember one night somebody called me and said, "Are you on Facebook?" I said, "No." Go to your son's Facebook, and he on there saying, "I spent more money on marijuana than I have on self-development. I'm Mrs. Mamie Brown's grandson." Let me tell you something. I needed some weed after watching him. So, the book of life said, "Think it not strange that you're faced in fiery furnaces in this world." It has been a humbling experience that I've been able to motivate and inspire young men around the world. And my son looked like I had him by myself, that I can't reach him. And so I have learned, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. I can't change him. The courage to change the things that I can. I can change how I react, how I respond, and the courage to know the difference. And so I've learned to discipline myself to let go and let God. And once letting go, don't go back to God and get it. Just give it to Him.
Yes.
That our kids come through us, but they come from God. And learn to surrender. Life is about surrendering and releasing. And I've learned the discipline to do that. But it hasn't been easy.
How can people that are listening to this now, especially if they're an adult that's got all those labels put on them, that's had their creativity squished, what process do they do to hear the voice? What sort of communion can they do to create that imagination that's going to allow them to get out of that and move towards something new?
That's the reason why you designed this program, you and your team, for them to do that they have to expose themselves to something that will give them a different vision of themselves. And in addition to that, they have to put themselves in a community of what I call OQP, only quality people. A gentleman who dramatically transformed my life. I was a junior at Booker T. Washington High School in Miami, Florida. And I went in his class looking for another friend. And he said, "Go to the board and work this problem out for me." I said, "Sir, I can't do that." He said, "Why not?" I said, "I'm not one of your students." He said, "Do it anyhow." And the other kids started laughing, saying, "He's Leslie. He's DT." And he said, "What's DT?" His brother is smart, but he's the dumb twin. And And I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk and he pointed at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And he taught me three things. He said, if you want to become successful in life, young man, he said, number one, you got to change your mindset. He said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Number two, practice OQP. Only quality people. You earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. I found that out. I left all my broke friends. I said, y'all got to go. Because I used to be so broke, I'd pass a bank and trip the alarm, you know? And the third thing he said, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. He said, those are three major things that you want to work on that will liberate you from living in Liberty City, living in poverty in Overtown. It will help to escape out of where you are right now, because I see you watching me and I know you want more. I can see the hunger in your eyes. That's why my book is about to come out called You Gotta Be Hungry.
How do you build that resilience? So maybe by the time you get to cancer, you've already done so much work. So I get maybe how that one you're protected by the mechanisms you've built. But in the beginning, how did you crawl out from under the labels that people were putting on you?
The easiest thing I've done was to get out from under the labels and to live the life that I live. The most difficult thing I've ever done was to believe that I can do it.
What's the difference?
The difference is that when you don't know what's impacting you, and it's something that's holding you down and you're not aware of it. The great anthropologist Margaret Mead was in a restaurant in London, and a guy was serving her and said, there's several Americans here tonight. And she said, is that right? Yeah. So let me know when you serve them dessert. I'll tell you exactly how many are here. He said, oh, you couldn't possibly. And so he came back and said, okay, I've done it. And she got up and she walked around and she came back and she said, there are around 25 here. And he looked at the roster. How did you know that? Say, in America, we eat differently from you when we eat a dessert. You eat it from the crust toward the tip. We eat it from the tip toward the crust. When you eat a slice of pie, how do you eat yours?
Definitely, yeah, from the tip back to the crust, for sure.
Yeah, okay. And so there are things that when you, in my situation, when you live in a dominant culture that is designed to destroy your sense of self and your belief in yourself, and you have to learn ways in which you can begin to connect with this power that you have within yourself to handle where you are. The key is to be constantly in a perpetual process of discovering the truth of who you are and fighting constantly to look for ways in which you can escape the inner conversation. I speak to audiences around the world, and I train speakers as well, and I tell them that when you speak, that there's an objective that you want to achieve when you speak to an audience, because how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. So you as a speaker, when you speak in this program, when people see you, what you do is distract, dispute, and inspire. You distract people from their current story with your guests and the questions that you ask. Through the process of the ongoing questioning and the way in which they respond and the things they have learned, you dismantle their current belief system and inspire them to create a new chapter with their lives. And so, but that's an ongoing process of constantly interrupting that conversation, what psychologists call your self-explanatory style, because life is going to beat up on you in so many ways, and many things, they come back, negative thoughts and how you feel about yourself, they don't die. They come back once you stop doing the maintenance work on your mind. We have to believe in ourselves, and that's an ongoing process, engaging in things that will help us to believe in ourselves, because we are cultivated in a world where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential. And so faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. And so we have to constantly go to seminars, go to workshops, listen to audio programs, and read books that will help to expand our vision of ourselves, of what's possible for us. In life, what we're doing right now, it is, to me, an experiment with life. There's so much noise in this world, and most people never achieve their goals because of the noise, because it is so distracting. One of my students, her name is Stacy N.C. Grant, and she wrote a book called Action, Action, Despite the Distractions. And so what most people do, they stop and they look around. The reason that Lot was saying, don't look back, is because you become paralyzed when you allow yourself to be distracted and seduced by the noise of life, that you have to discipline yourself. The road to life is straight and narrow, and few there be that find it, because few there be that are willing to focus their minds. Where focus goes, energy flows. Few there be that are willing to discipline themselves. And as a result, most people allow their dreams, their potential, their goals to be derailed because they take their eyes off of what it is that they're after. Responsibility to me it's about understanding and knowing that you have the power to control your destiny, that it's about living your life from a place of creation, that most people go through life doing what I call living their lives as volunteer victims. When you take responsibility for your life, it's about knowing that you have to develop yourself, that you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. You have to develop your mind, you have to develop your skills, you have to have a talent, ability that you are cultivating so that you can create value for the world with what it is you have, with your gift. Just think about if you were an immigrant and you're watching television and you see people who can come from white cultures with no problems whatsoever, like the president's in-laws, but brown people coming from other countries, they're separated from their children and put in cages, and there's a silence. There's not millions of people protesting and saying, this is not who we are as a country. This is inhumane. I believe that all of us have a responsibility that we want to live a life that will outlive us. The work that you're doing. There are people that you will never meet, whose lives that you've transformed, that you're living a life that will outlive you. Just think about the fact that this program has given a lot of people hope, and there's hope in the future. It gives you power in the present. Every 40 seconds, someone commits suicide. But because of something you say or some guests that you've invited, and as they share their story, you interrupt that story of being hopeless and powerless and not wanting to be here anymore. And because they took the time to watch, you create an experience. Oliver Wendell Holmes said that once a man or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea, concept, or experience, it can never be satisfied to going back to where it was. And so at the end of the program, at the end of one of your presentations, there are people who, because of you, their lives will be transformed, and they will become a pencil, as Mother Teresa would say, in the hand of God, and start writing a new chapter with their lives.
Yeah, this is Prophet Paul, and I'm here listening to Servant David Ehrlichman in Devotion. To my problem, God is the solution.
This is Brother Wonder representing for Servant David, the man with slew Goliath.
I don't want to say a blessed good morning to each and every one of you. Good morning. How are each and every one of you doing this morning? I want to say blessed greetings, manners, love, and elevation to each and every single one of you. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's such a pleasure to see each and every one of you here. Clive Mott, a positive lifestyle, cheeky TV, manners, love, an elevation to you. Chicky, I have not received a message from you as yet. You won something yesterday, and I'm waiting for you to hit me up on IG so I can get that out to you as soon as possible. Yeah. Once again, I want to say manners, love, and elevation to each and every one of you. Indeed, Sassy Diva, anywhere you're at. Mwah. Manners, love, and X amount of elevation to you. Hugs and kisses always, yeah? And how are the rest of you guys doing? I believe that I saw, oh my gosh, what did I just do? Oh yeah, okay, we're back. What did I just do? I just hit something. Octavia, how are you doing this morning? Blessed greetings to you. Thank you for being here. And I want to say also to, who else is here? Keeping up with the Ashmaids. If you are still here, I want to say manners, love, and elevation to you as well. Thank you so much. Raquel, Vibes TV, all of you. Nightbot, thank you for being here. I hope you woke up on the right side of the machine this morning and you're not troubling my friends or my guests. GIF Yankee TV, manners, love, and elevation to you. How are you doing this morning? I see that a lot of you were here from early. Such a wonderful feeling, to have you guys. You know, yesterday someone mentioned here on the show about forgiving and forgetting. I don't see that person here today, so I kind of wanted to touch on it a little bit for them, but it's okay. I can always go into something else, or another time come back and do this for them as well. But I just want to say, it's not an easy thing to do, to forgive. Forgiving someone is not easy. Even forgiving ourselves of things is not an easy task. It's not an easy thing to do. Sometimes it's even harder for us to forgive ourselves more than it is for us to forgive others. And yes, sometimes we do need to forgive ourselves. But the main thing is that, you see, God said, and if you guys believe in God, if you believe in the Bible, then I don't see how some could believe in part of God or part of the Bible. It's either you believe it all or you don't. Most of it, I would say, is by faith. Would you agree? A lot of things that we hear or that we deem to know is because of faith. It's because of the faith that we have, because a lot of the stuff that are in the Bible makes zero sense to the normal logistic human brain. Some of the stuff in the Bible just does not make any sense. You ever hear a donkey talk yet? I mean, all animals can talk in their own ways. A dog can talk. I've been around dogs long enough that I know that a dog can, by certain barks that they bark, you can tell what they are saying or what is going on. So you can tell when it's an aggressive bark. You can tell when it's a friendly bark. You can tell when it's a scared bark. You can tell when it's just a warning bark. Even the growls, certain growls, you can kind of tell when a dog is going to bite and when it's not. But if you don't know and a dog just shows his teeth, you will believe that he's snarling at you and he's going, or she's going to grab you, when in all actuality sometimes they're snarling those teeth because they are smiling. Yes, dogs can smile. But I'm falling off a track just a little bit. I just wanted to say that, forgiveness is not an easy thing to do. And it is even harder for us to forget. But it is possible. And if we believe what the Bible says, if we believe in God, then we have to believe all of it. Yes? All of it. All of it we have to believe, even if it doesn't make sense to us, you know. So I'm just gonna touch down on that just a little bit. And again, once again, guys, I am not a pastor. I don't profess to be a pastor. I don't want to be a pastor. I feel I'm a lot too honest to be a pastor. But how far does loving your enemies go? How far does that go? How far does that sit with you? What are my words and actions towards someone who abuses or belittles me? Such questions can make us feel rather uncomfortable. Would you agree? To truly love those who persecute us, we need to speak well of them in spite of what they say or do to us. And that is a very extremely hard thing to do, especially for me. I am not always 1000% forgiving. No. A lot of times I take matters into my own hand because I feel that God is within me. And if God is within me, then the things of God will come out. How many times do someone does something and they say, "Oh, thank God for you." And they say, "It wasn't me. It was the Lord who led me to do this." And they say, "Oh, bless the Lord for you." Someone comes and they just gives you a car, or they give you a house, or they give you a portion of money, and they said, "The Lord placed this on my soul to give it to you, or to do this for you." How many times have you heard that? And our response is, "Glory to God. Thank God for God is good all the time. Oh my gosh, God is good." But when bad things or revengeful things come up, we say, "Oh, leave it to the Lord. Oh, let God handle it." Well, I am letting God handle it the same way I let God handle that good blessing that I gave to Samantha or Johnny or whoever it was. Because if God can work through me to do good, God can work through me to do revenge. Most times when God does things, he does not just majestically just let it happen like how he did back in the days. He just, and breath was into a man. Let light be light, and things just happen. He did not. He, he did that, but he doesn't do that type of stuff nowadays. I don't think. He usually works through someone. When they had wars back in the days, why didn't God just war with the people instead of having armies march against armies and this and that? God was for war. How many times did King David pray to God and ask him, "Lord, shall I pursue this war?" I think it was the Amorites that went to King David's camp, and they took everything from him: his women, his children, his dogs, his donkey carts, everything, his food, his gold, everything. They probably even took the armor that belonged to Goliath, while David was out warring with another country or whatever. And then when David came back, he was upset. He was crying. He was hurt. But what did David do? David prayed to the Lord, and he asked the Lord, "Should I go after them?" And the Lord said, "What? Go ahead." And David went to the enemy's camp, and he took back everything that they took from him, plus some, plus interest, plus his enemies' wives, women, dogs, handcards, the apples, the oranges. David took everything. But how many of you say, yay, David, King David, a man after God's own heart. But if I say someone does me wrong and they offend me and they physically hurt me, and I say, well, I'm going to go after them, the fish in their fish tank, the dog in the backyard, their granny that is dead and dug down in the ground, I'm going to dig them up and do some things to that body, and I'm going to go to the rest of the family and do this. You guys will say I'm crazy. You guys will say I went a little bit too far. But suppose I tell you that God told me to do that. What would you tell me? I am crazy? Then how come none of you tell Abraham that he was crazy to go and try to kill his son when he said that God said to kill his son? You see, things of God may sound crazy or may sound foolish to those who think they are actually wise but are not. I don't know if you're on the track that I'm on this morning. I don't know if you're following me. I don't know if I lost you or if you lost me. But if you have a brain with any sense, you know what I'm talking about and you know where I'm getting at. You see, loving those who return love is not what we are talking about here. It's okay to love those who love us. It's okay to do for those who do for us. If we want to bring it to the YouTube platform, to the YouTube world, it's okay to support those who support us. But is that the only way? Is that the actually correct way? Or should we also go to those who don't even support us, even though they're not supporting us? Should we go to those who don't share us? Should we share them even though they don't share? I say yes. 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 As long as you are doing it with the sincerity of your heart, yes, do it. Don't watch no face. You see, Jesus tells us these type of things in Matthew 5 verse 46. For if you love them which love you, what reward have you? Do not even the publicans the same? We may have heard this scripture many times, but to truly live it is not a simple matter. Consider Jesus' example in Luke 23, verse 34. Then said Jesus, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Jesus made intercession to the Father for those who sinned against him. Let us stop and reflect for 1 minute what that could have been like, what that might have been like. Huh? Do you think that you would be able to exercise such skills, such humbleness? He was the Son of God and had every reason in earthly logic to retaliate, but he showed ultimate compassion instead. And Positive said it is making sense. You see, when Stephen was stoned, do you know what it is to be stoned? Have any of you, or many of you are from Jamaica, mostly the men. Some of you females probably looked outside and saw, the neighborhood boys playing stone, where you throw rocks and stones at each other, and they're just playing. It's not like politician time with PNP and labor rights, and they're doing this and they're throwing stones. No, this is a normal playtime for some children where they throw rocks at each other and trying to hit each other too. When Stephen was stoned, he prayed and he said, Lord, lay not this sin in their charge. I have had a few trials in life, but I do not know what I would do in this circumstance. I don't think I could sit there and let people stone me, even if it was the law that said they had to do so. I don't think I could stand there and let them do it. They would have to tie me down in order for me to stand there and let people throw stones at me. I would like to respond as he did, I would. But the power to respond rightly, well, that must come from Christ Jesus. We need to pray often for such type of faith because we don't know what circumstances, what situations we may run into. We don't know what we might encounter. My prayer is that each of us, me, you, him and she, that we might have the endurance to stand fast. So no matter what our test may be, we will get through it through the grace of the Almighty God. I just don't know what I would have done in that situation. I don't even think that I don't think I could do what Jesus did. I don't think I could sit there taking all those beatings, all those lashes, being spit on so many times, being mocked, being shoved, being tripped, being beaten, being nailed to the cross, I think I would have called those angels. I think I might have called God, Father, I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't. God, Father, I can't do it. I'm not saying I couldn't do it. I just don't know if I could. And most likely, I don't think I could. But does that mean that I don't believe in God? Does that mean I don't have forgiveness in me? Does that mean I'm not forgiven of my sins? Does that mean I'm a devil worshiper? Does that mean I'm a hypocrite? Does that mean I'm wishy-washy with this godly walk? Does it? Does it? I don't think so. I don't think so. And to be quite frank, that's how I am. And I don't care who likes it or doesn't like it, because that's me. I don't know how I would react to certain things. Because nowadays, certain things happen to me. As I said, I've been involved in many circumstances, many situations. I've been done wrong. And sometimes I turn the cheek and just let it go. And other times I'm like a raging tyrannosaurus. And I dare you to step in my way. And Clive says, David, drop link for positive. Drop link for positive. I'm not understanding what you're saying, but let me see. Drop link for positive. What do you mean by that? I'm assuming you mean this. And I'm not going to be here too long with you guys, because I do have to go to work in just a few. But yes, the link is dropped for those of you who may want to come up and have something to say. You may want to join this topic, or you may have something to say about what I said. Feel free, feel free, feel free, feel free. But do remember, I am not Jesus, so be careful what you say to me. You know? But once again, I just want to say manners, love, and elevation to each and every single one of you. Thank you all for being here. It's such a pleasure to have you. I'm only going to be here until the hour of 8 a.m. Smile at Clive. Or drop link for positive. Oh, I think I'm okay. Well, positive, if you are still here, I'm not quite fully understanding what Clive is saying, but I think I kind of get it. I dropped my link so that you can come up for, or maybe he could come up and give something positive. But I think what he might be saying is that I must drop your link. So, positive lifestyle, a positive lifestyle. Could you please kindly type the word elevation? Type the word elevation. Manners, love, and elevation. Don't type the manners, love. Type the elevation, and Nightbot will drop your link. And that way, Clive and others will be able to go to you. I want to say manners, love, and elevation to each and every one of you. And tomorrow morning, I don't think that I'm going to really be able to be here tomorrow morning. I have to go in quite early. It's going to be pretty early that I go in tomorrow. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to run the program. Maybe I can get someone to run it for me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I was going to ask Brother Gary if he would run it for me, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You see, when do we hear the invitation in today's title? You know, when I say let's take a walk, if I was to say let's take a walk, and Clive, there you go. There are some links that are dropped. You can feel free to go and connect to them. Yes, and thank you for that. Manners, love, and elevation to each and every one of you. And to you guys, Clive is not a content creator, at least not as yet. I don't know if he is anticipating to be one. I don't know if he's thinking about being one or not, but he is a supporter. He will support you as best as he can. Do not expect him to be there every single day of the week. That won't happen, but he will support you, and he will, tell people about you and those things. So please, do thank him for that, yeah, because he will support you. And as I said, if I was to say let's take a walk with that title, with that saying, when I say that, what do you hear in that invitation? When I say let's take a walk, usually there is a reason. Sometimes it may be to go visit another person, or it could mean to go take physical exercise, or for enjoyment of even just the outdoor. It could mean kick rocks, and it doesn't. When I say kick rocks, doesn't literally mean to kick rocks. Kick rocks can mean get out of here, leave me alone, go chuck off. Whatever the reason, taking a walk can be like our life. Expressions such as the walk of life or our journey in life illustrate this point that I'm making. You see, we start from a spot somewhere and travel toward another spot. We may or we might not know exactly where that goal is. As we make progress, the end may appear in the distance and gradually come closer and closer and closer in our eyesight. Or the path may take a sudden turn, and we arrive at the end of the trail without much warning. So, such is life. For some, a gradual decline in health and physical fitness signals for years that the end is coming soon. Your back is not working as it used to work. Your knees are not as strong as they used to be. When you're doing dougal, you cannot last as long as you used to last. You start to notice gray hairs on your head. You start to notice here declining from your head. You start to notice gray hairs under your arm and down there. You start to notice that you're moving a little bit more sluggish than you used to. Those are signals that the years for you are coming to an end soon. For others, a life in perfect health ends suddenly in a car wreck or some other freak accident. You see, walks can involve terrain that rises or falls. Rocks, trees, limbs, and other obstacles just might be dealt with. Holes in the ground present a potential fall. You know, over in Ephesians, I think it's 5, I don't remember the verse, but over in Ephesians warns us, walk circumspectly. That means to scan the entire area. Scan the entire area that is around us, looking carefully for potential issues, obstacles, holes, traps, snares, so we can be aware of them and avoid falling into them. You see, when a jogger takes his exercise or her exercise, their pace is quite swift. They move in a determined way. Their face is set. Very little of the world passes through, makes, it worth breaking their stride. This is a good example of how we should be even in our spiritual walk. And Disasi Diva, good morning to you. Thank you for being here. Let's be determined that nothing in life, nothing in this eye-catching world will draw our focus away from heavenly things. Once we have our eyes, mind, heart, and soul set on heavenly bound-word things. Otherwise, we might be distracted and our journey could end in a place that is not actually our goal. Walk daily with your Savior in fellowship of love, and you will share his friendship in yon fair land above. You know, a lot of things that are done or said are a lot of times easier said than done. And even though it may look easy when we see someone else doing it, sometimes it's not all that easy. Would you agree? Would you agree? I rebuke that in Jesus' name. I rebuke that. Yes, I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to say manners, love, and elevation to each and every one of you. And I want to thank each and all of you for being here. It's been a pleasure, such a pleasure to have your presence. Thank you so much. It means a lot. I want to thank each and every one of you, and I want to encourage you guys to just continue to keep the faith, continue to stay strong, continue to try to do things for others, no matter what the outcome might be. Just continue to do for others, and God will do for you. Positive says, indeed, most things are easier said than done, depending on the mindset. That is true. That is true. That is true. And sometimes, even when we are in the right mindset, it's not as easy to do. I mean, as fake as that slap that Will Smith did, as fake as it was, and I didn't want to tell you guys, but I can't hide it anymore. It was a fake slap, guys. If you guys noticed, or any of you pay any attention to the Oscars and to the awards and all those things, their ratings were going down. It's a way to bring up the ratings. Do you guys have any idea how much the ratings boosted from that incident? Furthermore, this is America. It is not, and I'm not degrading other countries or anything like that. It's just here in America, they do some common sense things that a lot of other countries should at least think about doing, but they don't do. America, I don't like it. I hate America, to be honest, but they do some sensible things, such as when they have big events like that, there is always an ambulance, always police, always fire trucks, always security. There has to be. It's the law. It has to be, because anything can happen, and they cannot wait until the last minute to say, oh, someone call 911. And no, fire marshals and all those things are already set in those buildings. So how is it that someone with such statue can just walk up and slap someone? Violence is against the Oscars. It's a contract that they signed, and nothing was done. If you notice, as his hand went, you guys tried to play it in slow motion. So did the head go. You guys ever watch wrestling? Come on, guys, wake up. But that's not what this is about. It's just to show you that, you know, sometimes what things seem to be is not what it always is. And it's not always easy to pull off an act. It's not always easy to react the way one should react. It's not always easy. You know, some of you may have seen this, some of you may have seen, and Positive says she believes it was fake too. Some of you may have seen this police officer on TikTok or Instagram or wherever, and he's showing you how to defend yourself from an attacker. Sometimes he shows you, you know, a guy pointing a gun at you, and the barrel is pinned against your chest, and how you can react to do this and react to do that, and yada yada yada. But if you don't know exactly how to do it, he is setting people up for death, because not everyone is quick enough to do what he is trying to show you to do. It will take lots of practice. I might can do it, and I have training, and I might can do it, most likely can't, with a gun pinned against my chest. But I'm not afraid to die. So me will probably talk crap and tell them to shoot me, grab the gun and point it to my head, and they will think I'm crazy and run and leave, probably. Probably, or they might just finish me off, who knows? But they would be doing me a favor. Anywho, it's not always easy to do what others are telling us to do. It's not always easy to forgive, but it is definitely not easy to forget. I wish that the person was here this morning, and I'm going to, hopefully, if I see them again on another live stream, I'm going to address it. I should have addressed it yesterday. I should have addressed it yesterday. Good morning to each and every one of you. Thank you all. I want to say thank you all for being here. It's been a pleasure to have your presence. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's program. I hope that you got something from it. And if you think that I could do anything better, feel free to, leave me a message or type in what maybe you think that I could do a little bit differently. I am wide open for constructive criticism. I am open for criticism. Just don't be funny. Don't try to just be, oh, servant, I don't think you can do anything. Your program is stupid and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Because, I might just react in a way that you will regret. Not me, but you will regret. And so I'm not saying sugarcoat anything, but don't just be blah and mean either. Let me know. What do you think? Did you like it? Why did you like it? Did you not like it? Or did you like it, but there were some parts of it that you didn't like? What possibly could I do or could not have done that could made it better? But then again, no matter what we do, there will always be someone who does not like what we say, do, or even wear. Once again, I want to thank you all for being here. I want to say manners, love, and elevation to each and every one of you. And in case any of you are considering giving your life over to the Almighty One, the creator of all creation, God, Yeshua, I invite you to do so. I invite you to just accept him into your heart as your Lord and personal Savior. And it won't be easy. It won't be easy, but accept him into your heart as your Lord and personal Savior, and you will see a difference. Again, it will not be easy, but it is possible. So until next time, I want to say manners, love, and elevation to each and every one of you. And please, in case you do not see me tomorrow morning, do not fear, do not fear. I will be back another time, yeah? Manners, love, and elevation to each and every one of you. On a walk good until next time, yeah?
Let us close in a prayer. Father, we thank you. Truly, Lord God, you are so amazing. You are so good, O Lord. You never let us to be alone. Sa kabila po mga pagsubok namin sa buhay, patuloy mong pinatutunayan na ikaw in everything that we have learned, Father God, I pray that those words will come into our heart so that we may not sin against you. Father, bless this family, the JFCM, Barangay Once family, Lord God. Bless all these people, Lord. Know that they love you and we know that you love us. Father, we know that you are the one caring us sa mga situation ganito. Kayo po nag-iingat sa amin together with our family. Father God, maraming salamat sa katapatan mo. And again, O Lord, to you be alone with the glory, honor, Jesus' mighty name. Amen.